boulevards, lots of empty squares that lead to these kind of grand.
Hello, hello, hello. Give me 1 second. I just started. I'm just trying to organize my chat here. If you are talking, fucking YouTube sucks so bad.
To the IDF, death to the IDF, death to the IDF, death to the IDF.
Thanks so lot for the fucking YouTube chat.
Hell yeah, from the river to the sea, Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Okay, yeah, where's like fucking goddamn chat? Where's my damn chat? God dang, where's my goddamn chat? Like, what is it loading? What are you loading? There it is, finally, for fuck's sakes. There we go. Now we're cooking.
Alright, I am very pleased to meet you. I'm the mayor of success. I'm unique, I'm special, I am nothing like the rest. I know these words don't hollow, but follow me and listen on. I treat every man as equal until he proves me wrong, but oh, gotta sort of stay alive. And no, I'm not afraid. Just know I need you.
I fucking need you.
I need you out.
I need you out.
I need you out. In 5 days.
Bro, how did I lose a follower? Fuck you, follower that left. Fuck you, I didn't want you here anyway. He's probably a dickhead. Yo, Dylan the Villain, how you doing? This is my band. What are you up to today? How are we doing? Doing alright? Doing alright? Got some videos to walk through. What I got here? I got fucking... I'm gonna try to watch an Ordinary Burger video because I've been told about Ordinary Burger, or what is Ordinary Sausage. And I never got it. So let's see if I can understand it.
My toaster oven burgers, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Oh,
it's fine.
I'm doing alright.
So instead I'll make something.
The toaster oven burger? That seems... I cook a lot of stuff that I shouldn't cook in the toaster oven I need to do more cooking videos.
That I know you degenerates are gonna love. Oh, shit. We got a half pound.
Is he doing a microwave uncrustable stuffed burger? God damn it. Oh, hell yeah.
We're gonna whack, and then we're gonna whack.
What's his name? How...
And we'll shape it into
You all
a
about
patty,
Ibrahim?
and we'll use our normal burger seasoning of salt,
Ibrahim Tauro? I don't know how to say his name properly.
Right,
I like that guy.
Here's a burger in a frying pan, you bunch of crybabies.
That was my band, yeah. Let's check you out here. Ooh. Oh, look, you make music too? Let's go. This is not my band. This is the Coup. This is my band. Check this band. The stuff, I haven't made a stuffed burger in a long time. I found that the cheese just melted out. Looks like he's doing a good job.
Got stuck to the lid. That's why we invented a plan B. I'm calling it.
I play the bass, do a bit of vocals, and production. A lot more production.
This looks worse than the toaster oven burger. Oh, that actually looks kind of good. You got peanut butter, you got strawberry jam, you got American
Why does he sound like
cheese.
fucking Mickey Mouse?
It tastes like heaven. You got the sweetness of the PB&J. You got the savoriness of the burger.
PB&J. I've heard peanut butter going on burgers a few times.
I saw this one coming a mile away, but I'm gonna have to give the uncrustable stuffed burger gotta fuck.
Play your favorite. Well, okay, this is my newest song. This is my newest song. That's a different band. This is like my solo project.
You're stuck in the desert. You're wearing a sweatshirt, but you can't get hurt. You're after midnight. You're trying to shoot him, but everybody dies here. It's not nice here. Is it surprising?
Yeah.
It's not your birthday.
Oh, well, no, not on the drums are the only things I didn't produce on this one.
And that's where they'll bury you.
I had a drummer friend on me to help out.
Enjoy all your life, but
Well, they
you'll
recorded the drums, but I did everything else.
vampire. You can suck all the blood and dick you want.
I even edited the music video. Yeah, all live instruments. I don't know how to program shit. You can't really see behind me. I got the bouquet.
Well, I wanna hold
Stuff's in the background.
and I want you here now. You can try all you want, but you'll never be
Oh,
a
thank you.
fucking
Thank you, thank you.
vampire. You can suck all the blood and dick you want.
It's fun. I think it's fun. Thank you, thank you. We got some nice cameras.
I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire. I'm a vampire.
That was really fun. When I was like, what am I gonna do at this part? It's like Bernie. That's so stupid. I love it. What else do I don't really have any music on here. I need to switch my name or something. But yeah, this fishing album's alright.
Well, to you it might just have been a fishing boat. To me, it was so
Rock
much
Vampire, hell yeah.
more. Well, I wanted to go.
Rock Vampire.
Just wouldn't let me, so I kicked down our front door. Well, I love hanging out, but I can't catch any more trout. Fishing on the worst day makes it the best day. Feels like the first time you shine. Well, I wanted to go, and you just wanted to stay. And I said I'm
But yeah, hell yeah.
around
Well, right now I'm doing music full time just because I'm unemployed. It's not really paying my bills right now. It has in the past. Oh, my camera's wigging out. What you wigging out for? You got music? Let's listen to you. That was fun. That's a fun one.
punching cones instead of knives. right. Packed a fucking fat one, now I'm fried.
Fuck yeah, it's
Fuck yeah, right.
rough.
What
The
an
rough go.
excellent fucking tone and even more splendid night. Fuck yeah, right. Let's get a bag and go to Revs. Racked a couple few, now I got the sweats. Fuck yeah, Revs. I've only been there like a couple of times, those couple of times are off the head. Fuck
That's
yeah,
so scary.
Revs. What do you get when you cross a pig? And a fucking dog. Public service are off the cops. You're not quite cops, but you're still fucking.
What happens when an actor is
Oh
so
no,
good
it's
at
starting
certain
all the videos. It's funny. No, this is some Australian guy I really like. There's these things going around right now where the ICE deportation flights are just flying into the middle of the ocean and coming right back, and bodies are washing up on flights. And it's fucking scary. So scary. Oh, 10 billion. Holy shit, they're gonna get almost 45 billion more dollars. Yeah. Yeah, but there's no news about it yet because it's so secretive. Goddamn summertime. Yeah, it's really fucking really scary. And it was the busiest day of ICE raids in LA. Yeah, people are tracking the deportation flights and finding them go. Nothing's verified. This is just what people are saying. But they did find a bunch of people chained together, wash up on shore in Spain, I believe it said. Downstream from where the flight was found. Yeah, no, it's fucked. Gestapo. Fucked. Absolutely fucked. Anywho. What did I want to watch? I didn't even find any good fucking. I already watched this. Yeah, yeah. Where is everyone today? Okay, I need to find something to do. Sometimes I play games. I don't know if I feel like playing games today. I've been playing Ark. And that game is fun, but yeah, I've been playing Ark lately. Survival game. What else do I got? I got workers and resources. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I got Ghost of Tsushima still. That game's fun. But I would kind of want to play games a little bit. But it's going to make my room so hot. And it's so hot in here already. Running my fucking graphics card up. Just blowing heat on my nards. Like just drenched in sweat. This guy looks like me. Is he the most popular one? Yes, he is. So good. Some of these Bowser's military hierarchy.
Bowser.
Hell yeah.
King Koopa.
Oh yeah, it becomes a heater. Just pumps out heat. Cause I'm ripping a 3080 Ti. It's a pretty good graphics card. A couple years old now, but it's it's awesome in the winter. I don't mind it in the winter one bit because it gets very cold where I'm at. The summer, not so much. It heats my room up so fast.
The authoritarian turtle with a penchant for princess napping. His very name strikes fear into the heart of man and mushroom alike. And he's also pretty good at figure skating. But when you focus on Bowser's many attempts to put the Mushroom Kingdom under his rule, you might forget that to fuel his violent vanity projects, he must put
Maybe I should
hundreds
post
of henchmen into harm's way.
No, water cooling will still make the room the room really hot. It doesn't, like, it still blows the hot air out of the computer. It's also, it's louder. I do a lot, like, I do music stuff, and I can run the fans on silent mode when I'm doing music stuff, and it provides enough cooling. My heat sink's like this big, and it's a lot quieter than the water cooling. But yeah, the water cooling still has to take the heat out of the case, and it ends up in your room. Just over there, focus over here. I don't know, it's just, it's more expensive.
And
More
by
expensive.
harm's way, I mean in front of Mario. But me?
True,
I never
invalid.
forget the troops. And today, I'm honoring those who have put their lives on the line for a megalomaniacal turtle.
Oh, I was gonna
Today,
post that in live
I'm presenting
places.
you with Bowser's military hierarchy.
I need to post that I'm
I
live.
can't go any further than that. I'm sorry. But Brian, I hear you ask, why does Bowser need a military hierarchy? And folks, I hear you. I hear your questions constantly.
Twitter's so fucking stupid and
Come to
broken.
me in my dreams like a prophet receiving visions from an angry god. Bowser needs a military hierarchy because of the Geneva Conventions. Y'all remember those things? Those little rules that keep you from committing war crimes? Look, I know Bowser is
You're
a bad
Canadian.
dude,
Canada's
but I
at
don't
the
think
heart and
Nintendo
soul
would
of that
actively
shit.
create a war criminal and then allow him to sit in the backseat of a go-kart with a baby. This is thanks to how we define armed conflict. I read through the entirety of the Geneva Conventions in order to find this information, which turned out to be unnecessary because there's a far more succinct definition in a far shorter paper. But do I regret reading the Geneva Conventions? Of
Twitch.
course not. Knowledge is its own reward.
read them?
And could I really call this an Unraveled if I didn't spend a whole day reading 224 pages of dense legalese for no good reason? Of course I couldn't. Of course I couldn't. If Bowser wants to keep his armed conflict above board, we need to codify his aggressions. So this means his henchmen
And
need
Boots
to
Riley
follow
liked the fucking tweet I made today. That was crazy to me.
a command structure.
Boots
one that
fucking
is
Riley.
not at all clear cut in the games.
No,
all
Boots
we need
Riley
is
is.
a list of Bowser's troops. That's where this book comes in. It's the Super Mario Bros. Encyclopedia, the official listing of everything you could ever want to know about the 17 games in the main series of Super Mario Bros. The main series are just the platformers. None of the RPGs or spin-offs, but the silver lining to this means that I can spend a different Unraveled talking about those games, because God has cursed me for my hubris, and my work is never finished. Of the 17 in the main series, I'm gonna cut these 3 games because they don't have Bowser as the main antagonist, and I'm also gonna include Super Mario Odyssey because that came out after this book was published. That leaves us with 15 games and 226 enemies. I came to this number because I cut out the variants, I cut out all of the shadow versions of Mario, the mini-game enemies,
does it
the
not look
enemies
as
that are
good?
just machines, and Bowser's personas, because those should never be exposed to the horrors of war. Now I need to figure out how to structure this hierarchy. I ask myself, is there an analogous military that is somewhat bloated, often antagonistic, and seems to be the only thing that the leadership cares about funding? Unfortunately, I couldn't find
Which
any
one was
real-life
invalid?
examples of this. So I'm loosely basing it on the US military. That means Bowser's military
I gotta
will be
spurt you
split
here.
up into branches based on which henchmen work best together, and I'm also going to try to fit them alongside commissioned officers and enlisted troops, the
Try
standard
cleaning off
command
my
structure
lens.
that's found in most militaries. Let's start with the heads of state. Obviously, we have Bowser up at the top, the commander-in-chief. His Secretary of Defense is going to be Kamek, with Camilla standing by as the National Security Council. We've also got Bowser Jr. up here, but he's not in a military role. He's actually Secretary of Transportation, but that's just pure nepotism. The rest
got
of
real
Bowser's
close to
henchmen are
y'all
going
there,
to fit into
sorry.
this hierarchy, and I'm just going to say one
Sorry
henchman
about
per
that.
rank, the one that epitomizes what that rank means, and I'm going to list the rest of the enemies on the screen because I do want to save at least a little bit of paper. Obviously, I don't want to save paper that much. Starting with our infantry, we have our enlisted ranks with Private Goomba. This makes sense. It is the basic troop. Moving up a step to the corporal, we've got the Galoomba. It's more mature
I need
than the
to
Goomba,
argue
and
with
also
people.
its name has an extra syllable and is way more fun to yell.
Look at this Galumba.
Look at this Galumba! Sergeant Chuck is a great pick for sergeant class because this troop obviously enlisted right after being their high school star quarterback and moved up through the ranks quickly. And now that we're up at warrant officer, the top of the enlisted ranks, we've got it's just a tower of Goombas. Kind of like the Naval Academy's Herndon Monument, Goombas become stronger and work together better when they're standing on top of one another.
This is really funny. Elon Musk replying, so tempting to escalate this, so tempting, but I will refrain for now. Oh my god. I hope he does something nuts.
Moving our way up to the commissioned
How long
officers,
is for now,
we
you
start out
think?
with Officer Cadet,
Hopefully soon.
and that's going to be Twirlip. It's got the round, soft body of a Day 1 ROTC recruit, but there's ambition in those eyes. Second Lieutenant, we've got the Snailicorn. It's the natural evolution from the Officer Cadet, but a bit more dangerous. By the time you've reached First Lieutenant, you've really proved your mettle and are ready to show your dedication to the cause. And what better way to show your dedication than to be literally shot from a cannon? By the time you reach Captain, you need to have a top-down perspective, and that's why the Pokey's height is great for this rank. Also, the Pokey understands how to take calculated losses in stride, like having literally all of their torso punched out from under them and still maintaining a smile. Next we have Major Squizzard, and I'm gonna gloss over him because his name makes me uncomfortable. For Lieutenant Colonel, I chose Wiggler because they're able to maintain composure and only release their aggression when it's absolutely necessary. But quick shout out to Stareface Ogre, who's also a Lieutenant Colonel, and
This is funny because I don't know shit about
clan. Next we have Colonel Spike. At
the
the
lore
Colonel
of
rank, you are not only dealing
Mario.
with
I didn't even know there was
issues, but
lore to
also
Mario.
the internal politics of the military, which is why Spike makes time to have a few rounds of tennis with the
Bowser
boss.
even from
A brigadier
Mario?
general needs an eye
Is
for
Bowser's
detail
from
and a
Super
strong
Mario,
guiding
right?
hand.
I'm not that
And
out of
that's
touch.
literally all Knuckletech is. Major Burrows
If Bowser's
really
not from
deserves the
Mario,
rank
that's
of
fucking
Major General
crazy.
because he has demonstrated a powerful
I need to be
understanding
taught
of
stuff.
many strategies in many different battle arenas. But more than that, he has this tender leadership quality that makes him not only respected, but loved by his peers. And then above him is a fucking T-Rex. Unfortunately, even the military hierarchy
T-Rex.
is not insulated from nepotism, and though no one would describe Petey Piranha as capable in literally any circumstance, his father took a bullet for Bowser back in the Korean War, so now he's a general. And finally, we have our Field Marshal, the 5-star general. Obviously, this person is going to oversee every aspect of Bowser's infantry, and it has to be filled with the most overpowered troop. So it's Ukiki. This shitheel of a monkey plays dumb, but he's the Sun Tzu of Bowser's army. Listen to these quotes. All warfare is based on deception. If your opponent is of choleric temperament, seek to irritate him. Steal their hats. And that is the basic structure of Bowser's infantry, though there are also 3 special divisions of infantry units that are trained to fight in different conditions. The lava and
Losing
the
its
ice
silver so
divisions are
fast.
still found under Field Marshal Ukiki, and they don't have any enlisted troops. I won't talk too much about these two, but I think they are epitomized by the bully for the lava group and the chill bully for the ice group, who's exactly like the bully, except he'll kind of go easy on you if he can tell you're having a rough day. And the third special unit in the infantry is the spectral unit, or the dry corps, because not even death can excuse you from service in Bowser's army. I do want to talk about the implications of this unit for a moment, specifically Dry Bones and Dry Bowser, whose naming conventions confuse and frighten me. When I die, will I become Dry Brian? Is a living Bowser Wet Bowser? Why do Piranha Plant have bone in it? Next we have our aquatic troops. Where can you find pleasure? Search the world for treasure. Learn science technology. Where can you begin to make your dreams all come true? On the land or on the sea, in the Navy. I won't overstay my welcome on the naval forces because we already understand what each of the ranks in the hierarchy entail, but I did just want to point out one troop, the Gushin, because its name is the Gushin, and I had to learn that its name was the Gushin, and now you need to know that it's called a Gushin as well. And of course, the Admiral of the fleet
Gushin?
is going to be Unagi, because Unagi is the most terrifying character ever rendered. Get fucked, Mr. X. Now on to the Air Force. We start with the Paragoomba at our lowest rank. And honestly, we're gonna skip ahead to Wing Commander because most of the Air Force is just infantry but with wings attached. Lakitu is our Wing Commander. You might remember him as that helpful guy who picks you up in Mario Kart, but he actually got his start
Is
in
that
carpet
true?
bombing.
Holy
And
shit.
it might seem redundant to have Klepto as the Marshal of the Air
Hold on
Force,
here.
but
Hold on here. What's the budget for the Marines? The military army position of the budget request 173 billion. Trump's budget just passed. Where'd it go? Fuck, I just saw it. Decide 175 billion to an immigration crackdown. Okay. So ICE is gonna get more money than the fucking Marines. That's a little fucked. Wrong button. Wrong button.
But if there's one strategy that Bowser's military understands better than anything else, it's stealing hats. And these are the branches of Bowser's military. Of course, there are also special forces, units that Bowser can send in when he needs something to be done quietly and cleanly, like when he sent the Brutals to perform the extrajudicial killing of Professor Egad. Next, we've got the Bros. I'm talking the Hammer Bro, the Fire Bro, every bro in between. You can learn more about them in the HBO series Band of Brothers. I assume. I've never watched the show. It's time for the special forces called the Funny Parade. It's the Funny Parade. You know about thwomps, but did you know that there are thwimps? And
Thrimps?
the womps have
Oh.
wimps? Thwimps and thwomps and wimps and womps and grindles and spindles and grolls. There's toxbox and flumps and romps and bumps and walleyes and wallops, and they're all pretty much invincible, and they will crush you without hesitation, like a cartoonish Sherman's March to the Sea. Next, we've got the Koopalings. They're sort of like the SEAL Team 6 of Bowser's army. Iggy, Larry, Lemmy, Roy, Wendy O, Ludwig von. Notice that I did not include Morton Koopa Jr. because despite what he has written in his memoirs, he's never actually been active duty, and he's a valor-stealing bastard. And the final Special Forces team, it's the Stews. Strollin' stew, soarin' stew, swipin' stew, smolderin' stew. I don't know if they're good at fighting, but they are good at being the best fucking characters in Mario. And that is every troop in Bowser's military. Except for these 6 specific ones. They didn't really fit in the military structure. They don't act like military. The Koopa Troopas from Super Mario 64, they don't even antagonize you. Like, they go about their business unless you go out of your way to attack them. So again, they don't even like feel like military. They act more like civilians, to be honest. Oh my god, they're civilians. Okay, so maybe reading the full Geneva Conventions wasn't such an unnecessary thing after all. There's this thing called the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court, and in Article 8, subsection 2, it states that grave breaches of the Geneva Conventions count as war crimes. And if these Koopa Troopas are in fact not Troopas but civilians and Mario kills them, then that is a direct violation of Article 8, Part 2, subsection B1, intentionally directing attacks at the civilian population. Mario
that's
is
a war
crime.
criminal. Interesting.
That's not the only breach.
Anyone checked on Israel lately?
Subsection A4, extensive destruction and appropriation of property, destroying a brick to gain a coin. Subsection A5, compelling
wanna
a
see
prisoner of
this.
war to serve in the forces of a hostile power. What else could you call using Cappy to possess enemies and then forcing them to fire on their own friends? Subsection A8, taking of hostages. What was Mario doing with that penguin child? You might think, hey, maybe Mario's just become hardened after years of onslaught by Bowser, but look back to Mario's youth. I know I didn't include Yoshi's Island in these lists of
That
games,
looks better.
but subsection
More color.
B21, committing
More colorful,
outrages
I
upon
think.
personal dignity, in particular, humiliating and degrading treatment. Yoshi made Bert the Bashful's pants fall down, but baby Mario gave the order. He already feels bashful. You didn't need to pants the man! Mario has committed at least 5 war crimes, and I'm not even including the child soldiers he has enlisted in the RPGs. But luckily, I've already compiled an extensive PDF that I've just emailed to The Hague outlining Mario's crimes. Still, it's important to note that Bowser is also at fault. The great loss of Goomba life is a tragedy, no matter which side you are on. The true enemy is war itself. And to fix that,
What kind of
we have
centrist
to
ass
turn
approach is
to
this
the
there,
only thing
fucking
that has
Gilbert?
worked in the past. Song.
The Koopa Troopers cooped up in the trenches. When you put down the bombs, you pick up friendships. So open up your heart and let the love come gushing out. We are the Goombas. So please stop jumping on each other, you big Galoombas. You big Galoombas. Why do we fight to take each other's space when there's so much room to spare? We could all have extra lives if we just share. One more time, everyone.
It fucking does it on each page. God damn it. Pretty good. Where was this? Where are you? I want to hear this.
1 week ago, we shocked the establishment and redrew the political map with a campaign relentlessly focused on the needs of working people. Since then, a lot of people have asked me if I was surprised by the results. In some ways, I
Fuck's
was.
sakes.
We always thought our victory would come after multiple rounds of ranked choice voting. So when we got more first-round votes than Eric Adams got in 7 rounds in the last election, it was astonishing. But in other ways, this was always the plan. We wanted to rebuild a coalition that had frayed over years of disappointment and neglect, to win people back to a Democratic Party that puts working people first. So let's break it down. Last November, New York City saw some of the biggest shifts towards Donald Trump of anywhere in the country. Much of it took place in working class and immigrant neighborhoods. A few days after the election, we went to Hillside Avenue in Queens and Fordham Road in the Bronx, not to lecture, but to listen. And what we heard was a desire to bring down the cost of living. That was our focus, and many of those voters came back. Brighton Beach went for Trump by 44 points. Last week, we won it by 16. College Point was a plus 11 Trump neighborhood. We took it by 8 points. We saw similar or even bigger swings in Bath Beach, Astoria
Pretty
Heights,
good.
and the North Shore of Staten Island. The headline is clear. We can win back voters many have written off if we give them something to vote for, not just tell them what to be against. When Eric Adams eked out a win by 7,000 votes 4 years ago, he called it a mandate and pronounced himself the new face of the Democratic Party. Even then, it was a little ridiculous. But in some neighborhoods, he did put up impressive margins. Take Flatbush, for example. Eric Adams dominated there, double digits ahead of his next rival. On Tuesday, there was also a double-digit victory, except it was for us, over Andrew Cuomo. We flipped Crown Heights by 45 points, North Corona by 33, and Jamaica by a staggering 57 points. These are the outer borough voters that Eric Adams said he'd bring with him to City Hall. He served as donors instead. Whether we're talking about young voters, older voters, or just plain disaffected New Yorkers, no campaign in recent history has been as successful at driving new voter registrations, especially in the 100 days before the election. Just take a look at this graph. According to the Times, in the 14 days before the registration deadline, about 37,000 people registered to vote. That's over 10 times the number of new registrations over the same period of time in the 2021 mayoral primary. As a result, we won big with zero prime voters, New Yorkers who had not voted in any recent mayoral primary. For instance, in Gravesend, at least 32% of all voters were first-time primary voters. Most campaigns focus on triple primes, New Yorkers who voted in the last 3 primaries. But this strategy ignores most of our city. Yet we knew that we could turn them out if they saw themselves in our policies. We ran a campaign that tried to talk to every New Yorker. Whether I could speak their language,
आपकी वजह से हमने $8 मिलियन रेज किया है, 6 लाख से ज्यादा दरवाजे खटखटाए हैं,
or just tried. que se comprometa al bienestar. All the words are new! And the coalition that came out on Tuesday reflected the mosaic of these 5 boroughs. We won South Asian neighborhoods by huge margins in places like City Line, Ozone Park, Jamaica Hills. We won Latino neighborhoods like Corona, Washington Heights, Pelham Bay, and Woodhaven. We won many of the same Chinese voters that turned out for Trump in Flushing, Chinatown, and Bensonhurst. And in the final months of the campaign, we narrowed Andrew Cuomo's once sizable lead with black voters, outright winning young black New Yorkers in neighborhoods like Harlem and Flatbush. Andrew Cuomo and his super PAC spent more than $31 million. That's about $87 per vote. We were focused on affordability, and it cost us only 19 bucks per vote. But what you did for us was worth so much more than what money could buy. The result? We shattered everyone's expectations, including our own. A Cuomo spokesperson put it best, saying they had not foreseen our ability to, quote, expand the electorate in such a way that no turnout model or poll was able to capture. Conventional wisdom says the left can only win low turnout elections. We rewrote the rule book by, get this, talking to New Yorkers. Politics in this city won't ever be the same, and it's all thanks to you. The next chapter begins today, New York.
Good job, Zoe. This one too.
Free, free! Free, free! Free, free! Alright, but have you heard this one though? Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF! Death, death to the IDF!
Pretty rad chant.
Death, death to the IDF! Hell yeah, from the river to the
Hell
sea.
yeah.
Palestine must be, will be, inshallah, it will be free.
Well, critics of the furore say it's free speech, but free speech can still have consequences. Bob Dylan were dropped by their agents today. The United States has revoked their visas. They're also now facing a criminal investigation, which in my view
A criminal
is
investigation?
too far.
For calling to the death of a military committing a genocide? That's insanity.
But the free speech defense seems to be at odds with another Brit who made global headlines, Lucy Connolly, who's currently serving a 31-month jail term for incendiary social media posts, which she deleted within a few hours. And does free speech only apply to people who go to music festivals? Joining me to debate all this and a lot more, the Israeli author and influencer Hen Mazik, comedian James Barr, commentator Esther Krakow, and from the United States, Taylor
That guy's
Lorenz,
back on. That's
the
funny.
founder of the User Mag newsletter.
She's good.
And culture commentator Farah Khalidi. Welcome to all of you. Taylor, let me start with you because
Taylor Lawrence.
you reposted somebody who said this: if you think death to the IDF is a bad thing to say or chant, you don't get to describe yourself as anti-fascist going forward. Why did you repost that?
Probably agrees with
I
it.
repost tons of commentary on news events, basically. So I was sort of resharing, which is something that I do a lot on my meme page. I kind of just reshare a lot of discourse. I think one thing that's being really lost in all of these conversations
Say it with your
is
chest.
that the Israeli military is committing genocide. And so I completely understand why, people are upset about anyone sort of calling for death. But it's important to recognize that the reason that they're calling for death to this sort of amorphous military entity is because that military entity is currently slaughtering babies and committing genocide in Gaza. And so these people that are very outraged that thousands of music goers at Glastonbury would repeat that phrase, I think that they should recognize that if they want to stop people from amplifying those messages and stop people from feeling, that we should destroy the IDF, they should advocate for the end of the genocide.
And in the Iraq War, for example, in 2003, if they chanted death to the British Army and the US military... If thousands of people had done that at a music festival, you'd have thought that...
Hold on, no, it's only the only comparable thing to say is people saying death to the Nazis. It's the only comparable thing to do other than other armies that were committing a genocide.
That was acceptable too?
Well, I never said anything was acceptable, but if you remember, Piers, during the Iraq War, people were chanting death to America, right? I'm smart enough to understand
I'm talking about specifically talking about death to soldiers, right? I've got a lot of military in my family. The idea. Well, hang on. The idea to me that you target in the way that this rapper did the military who are doing the dirty work for their government, that you say death to all of them, when actually they're being instructed by their government.
That didn't work. The Nuremberg trials proved that you cannot just say they were just taking orders, Pierce. You literally just did the Nazi argument. They were just taking orders.
To do what
you fucking crazy guy.
They're doing is my point.
Well, right, exactly. So we should end the genocide. And yes, people are going to, if a military entity is committing a genocide, yes, they want death to that military entity. Again, that military entity is currently slaughtering innocent babies. We found out Haaretz reported just last week that they were
Well, they
knowingly...
weren't talking about an entity. They were talking about the soldiers. They wanted death to the IDF soldiers.
IDF.
No, they didn't say death to the IDF soldiers. They said death to the IDF. Again, the IDF is a military entity. If people would like the public to change their sentiments around the IDF, they should advocate
What
for
do you
the
think
end
the
of the
IDF is?
What do you want the fucking chat to be? Death to the institutional slaughter machine of Israel. Not hopefully none of the soldiers that are committing these war crimes get hurt. Dumbass chant.
It's a military organization. Again, if people want that, people are very angry at right now because this military organization is currently slaughtering children and committing genocide.
Who's this fucker? This guy looks so smug right now.
Positive sentiment towards the IDF.
Fucking look on your face.
Should encourage the IDF to stop killing innocent
All right, so
civilians.
before I go to Hen, just to be clear, do you think he had a right to do what he did? And should there be any punishment in the way he's been dropped by his agents? He's been dropped from his visa application.
Well, I'm pretty sure he said his fucking
do you think
agent
he was
is a
entitled
Zionist.
to do what he did?
So he expected to get dropped.
I mean, listen, Piers, you know, I'm a huge
fully
supporter
expected
of free
it.
speech. I think it's terrifying the way
Even when
that
people talk about killing people.
Well,
they weren't talking about killing people. You just went over this.
He said death to a military entity. But what I would say is the criminalization of speech that we've seen in the UK is very concerning to me. Just the way that I feel like criminalization of speech, even speech that I don't agree with in the US, is also concerning to me. I don't think you're arrested or charged with, these sort of speech crimes.
All right, but let's go to Hen. Hen, Mazzy, your response to that?
Yeah, I think she's consistent because I remember her, Taylor, posting once that young people in America don't think that 9/11 happened in a vacuum. I think that's the sort of approach that she has to all of it. But personally, I think that those people, and every Jew I know felt the same way, that the Gladsbury fans were calling for the death of Israeli soldiers. What we hear when we hear death to the IDF is that the only line of defense between Jews and another Holocaust should be eradicated.
You think the IDF is stopping the Jews from a Holocaust? They're committing a Holocaust.
And we know that it's fact because on October 7th,
so
when the
insane.
IDF
People
wasn't
still listen
prepared
and
to
agree
what
with
happened
this
in
shit.
Gaza, we saw the results. And thank God they came on time to stop it from happening all over. By the way, did anyone ever chanted death to Hamas in those festivals? Why is it even happening? It was truly disgusting to so many of us.
Every fucking goddamn day. All death to the IDF is I condemn IDF. It's just a catchy slogan, maybe a little bit more aggressive, but all the discourse was for a fucking still. Do you condemn Hamas? Same shit.
And I mean, I think
For
that
fuck's
all of
sakes.
those artists that are using this conflict and this war to become famous, I never heard about Bob Dylan. I don't know if you did before, or even Kneecap. I just heard about them in this context.
Kneecap's
never heard
awesome.
about them before, but I think artists are using it to become relevant again, even though they're not. And I think it's really troubling, and it's even more troubling that governments are allowing supporting of terrorism in this way.
Taylor, let me bring Taylor back here. Do you agree that free speech does not come without accountability? Otherwise, you can say what you want to say. And he
listen
did.
and agree with this shit.
And he got what he wanted, a blaze of
and thank
publicity.
God they came on time to stop it.
But now he's feeling the icy chill of accountability dropped by his agency, United Talent Agency, had his visa revoked and so on, which will affect the tour that he was planning to do, or they were as a group. I mean, do you think that that is appropriate punishment if you incite violence?
I think what Hen said about how, artists are doing this for publicity, I disagree with that.
Saying death to the IDF is inciting violence is a fucking stretch.
Because it's not beneficial to their careers. I mean,
well, it can be. Kneecap have seen massive ticket sales despite being banned from various places. In fact, when you get banned, it tends to have the opposite effect, which is probably what will happen with these guys.
Banned for something most people agree with. When everyone on the ground agrees with what they're saying, then yeah, they're gonna garner some attention.
Again, I think losing out the way that musicians make money is primarily through touring, especially if you're a small musician. And if you suddenly can't tour and you're shut out of the largest market in the West, which is America, I do think that will have a significant impact, on his career. I just want to say again that we need to keep the focus on the genocide. I mean, we had hundreds of Israelis chanting death to Arabs, right? Which was completely
straight up. And also, how many fucking people have died in Palestine, blatantly murdered by the IDF since he's fucking said that? Hundreds, thousands. They bombed a fucking cafe that people were having like a birthday celebration at.
Shocking, just,
condemned by everyone.
Well, I certainly didn't see a lot of the people that are freaking out about Bob Vylan speaking in the same way.
You should follow me because you would see the post that I made calling this out, as well as the Israeli government itself that has issued condemnation of it.
Okay, well, that's good to hear that they did that. Now, what they should do next is stop the genocide. Again, if people want the public and these artists to have more positive sentiment towards the Israeli military forces, then
I don't think anyone wants positive sentiment. I don't know why you twisted it around. We're saying we don't want anyone to call for the death of anyone. I mean, if you are advocating against genocide and you don't want people to be killed, how can you turn around and say at the same breath that you think chanting for death should be contextualized somehow?
Well, yeah, because again, if an army is committing genocide and slaughtering babies and creating the highest rate of child amputees in the world, and if that is what they have done for months and years now, and then the public is rightfully outraged about that genocide.
Calling for their death, that's the issue. It's not,
calling for the death of a military entity that is currently committing genocide.
Taylor, you can't keep saying that.
It's a compulsory army.
You don't even believe that when you...
What are you talking about? That's literally what it means.
You're saying it.
Yeah.
If they say death to the British Army, no one's taking that as meaning the institution.
Yeah, they would. Why the fuck wouldn't they? Death to the Arabs, as they say in fucking Israel, is a lot different than fucking death to the military that's killing them and doing a genocide. It's so different. Fuck, they're so disingenuous. This fucking smug cunt.
They're taking it as meaning British soldiers.
When people say death to America, they mean death to American imperialism that is subjugated them.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Americans.
That's a very generous.
As the supreme leader of Iran, what they mean.
I don't think you even believe this as you're saying it, Taylor, do you?
Again, they didn't say death to Israelis. They said death to the IDF. Again,
who are Israelis?
Genocide.
It's a compulsory service. We have to join the army in Israel.
You don't have to. You can say no.
You can choose to not join the army, of course.
Of course, and go to prison.
Yeah, for like a couple months.
Participating in a genocide and slaughtering innocent babies and consciously objecting.
Yeah, but my point, look, Taylor, my point would be, I have a lot of criticism of what the Israeli government is doing in Gaza right now. I think it's gone way beyond self-defense. I've said this publicly. I'm getting hammered for it by a lot of the more extreme people on the pro-Israeli side, which is fine. I don't care. I got hammered by the extreme pro-Palestinians.
You got hammered?
It doesn't matter. I try and be intellectually honest.
No, you don't.
And in this case,
no, you fucking
I can quite easily be critical
That's the
of what
richest goddamn statements I heard from this fucking moron.
Way too far, and it has to stop. And at the same time, recognise that having a rapper on a stage at an English music festival chanting death to the IDF, it's also disgusting and should also be condemned outright by everybody. And if people can't condemn it, and all due respect, if you try and twist it into, well, he was just talking about the institution, not about individual IDF soldiers, come off it.
But also, individual IDF soldiers are committing genocide. Individual IDF soldiers are committing war crimes. And again, we need to.
They are doing what they're doing at the behest of their government, as all.
So were the fucking Nazis. And the Nuremberg trials did not take this fucking argument that they were just following orders as a reasonable way to get off the punishments they got.
What military do. It would be like saying individual soldiers in Iraq from Britain were the real problem, when in fact the problem was the government that sent them.
The problem is the government, and the problem is the people that support the government. The problem is
but soldiers don't get a chance.
What are you talking about?
You sign up to your military and you do what you're told.
The Nazis did that, and they weren't allowed to use that as a fucking excuse.
Okay, again, I do think that we need to remember that there is a genocide happening, and all of these people that are anti-death.
But that's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of irrelevant to what we're talking about. When no one's talking about what you think is a genocide, what other people think is an unnecessary slaughter, other people trying to defend it. That is one issue, but that's nothing to do with the right of a rapper to actively call for the deaths of people.
The reason why people were chanting that at Glastonbury is because there is so much anti-genocide sentiment, because people want the military to stop committing a genocide.
They want it's not to stop committing a genocide. They want it to die.
If it takes death for it to stop, then death it'll take.
And I feel for the average Israeli who.
Shut the fuck up. God damn it. I'm so riled up now. My fucking blood boiling. Let's see what's happening. What else can we check out here? What else can we check out? John Oliver, I think, posted an okay thing today. Oh, this was 3 months ago. Where's your new shit, bro? Oh, I need something. I need something new. 2 weeks ago. Fuck, it's all old. Never mind. Do they have to? They wait to upload it on there, I guess? Oh, yes.
So picture this. You're standing in front of President Obama. You're working for the CIA.
I don't know if I can watch this
whether
fully.
or not there are weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And 5 million people are going to die as a consequence of this action. How do you know what to do? Well, lucky for you, Masterclass has a course that's done by the head of the CIA on how to handle these everyday situations. So we're going to learn from the best how to do this stuff. Because like literally last week, I needed to.
It was hard.
Yeah.
Air Force 1, flight level 330. Air Force 1, Washington, good evening.
Aircraft crash in the Pentagon, sir. Do we want to think about scrambling aircraft?
They open with 9/11.
I was about to make a joke saying, is this POV 9/11?
It's the CIA guys being like, this is how we did it.
God, I don't know. It's a new type of war. That's what it is.
This is a new type of war. It's so funny. The country that's just bombing every single country in the world be like, well, this is a new thing now that our country's got hit by something.
Yeah, it's a new kind of war because they're bombing us back.
They've invented something new. Consequences.
This class is for anyone because much of what you learn at CIA is applicable to everyday life, your career, to a business you might work in or run.
This is insanity. How the fuck is there a master class?
Imagine actually being this guy, deputy director, like second in charge of the CIA, and you have to like fucking sell your this is crazy. He's like, well, this is how I can teach you how to better manage your auto parts business. It's just like, dude, America's crumbling if this guy is doing that. Surely the government would set you up forever to never have to do something like this.
Yeah, but
like if he's doing this, we could pay him to tell us all the secrets.
Wow.
Like you shouldn't leave the head of intelligence in a position where they need to do this kind of job.
I think they're paying a lot, and I think
surely China could pay him.
I think Masterclass is just CIA.
Oh yeah, they're still working. Yeah, that's what it is.
I'm Michael Morell, former Deputy Director of CIA.
I'm Don Myricks, former Deputy Director of CIA for Science and Technology.
I'm Brian Carbaugh, former Director of CIA's Special Activities Center.
And this is Masterclass.
Like the fucking Power Rangers. This is insane.
Masterclass.
I was not expecting people this high up. I mean, why stop here? They should be like doing sponsorships for McFlurries or like the fucking secret sauce.
It's 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
I know a lot about secret sauce, and then
I want like people like Abu Baghdadi. What's his name?
Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi.
Yeah, give me some like high-profile terrorists. Just keep going.
Yes.
Like, give me the dodgiest.
Yeah, I want to learn how to do 9/11.
I want to do 9/11. Oh no.
Wait, what is this? This is like The Incredibles.
I love this.
This is nuts.
very cool.
Why didn't they have anything this good for like Hillary Clinton or George Bush or George Clinton? Bill Clinton.
I was deputy director and two-time acting director of the CIA, but I started my career as an analyst. People like to say that intelligence analysis...
Were you also a therapist?
This is like connecting dots. It implies that it's
analyst
easy.
and a therapist?
Intelligence analysis is really hard. I think of it much more as putting a puzzle together.
It's not that easy. It's actually like this other thing that people do for fun.
That's
like,
really...
to unwind from their actual jobs. America's depending on me.
I gotta do this puzzle of 9/11. Who's the mastermind? George, it's me. Oh, no.
To determine if someone's lying to you, first, you have to understand that person's baseline behavior. So it's the way the person demonstrates who they really are in response to typical, standard, everyday questions. On the counterterrorism side, after 9/11, the early days in Afghanistan, word certainly got out that the United States was being highly aggressive in our pursuit of bin Laden.
It's so funny to be doing it in Afghanistan, a place where none of these people are. None of the people you're chasing are there. And he's just like, I was a CIA agent, put in this place where, like, obviously I wasn't going to find any terrorists because it's a random country.
But also, you're interviewing what? Farmers? And you're an American that doesn't speak the language. You're not ever going to, create a baseline of trust and genuine friendship here. They'll be like, yes, you have a gun on you. And you've invaded my country. It's like, I know something's wrong here.
In Afghanistan, we were sitting on carpets and he would sit and position his leg over top of a pillow and would sit pretty calm. But when he would share that, he had very sensitive information about senior Al-Qaeda Arabs, he would start to...
Senior Al-Qaeda Arabs. What a strange thing to specify. I've got information about Arabs.
This is a funny tweet. Oh wait, where's the full one? Well, this one is pretty funny too. Just on its own, it's pretty funny. British-Israeli soldier somehow magically died while fighting in Gaza. British-Israel. The cheers, I'll drink to that, bro. That's pretty funny. How about don't go join in on killing civilians. Don't do that.
And as I would move
Stay
away
home.
from the questions, the answers of which I really had an interest in and get back to more traditional stuff, he would sort of calm back down. So that combined with the number of repeated follow-up questions he would ask me, you start to realize then that this is someone who's fabricating his access and fabricating details that access to which you never really had in the first place.
That's awesome.
You go into a fucking random country where no one that you're looking for is there. You go in there and you say, I'll give you money if you tell us about this.
I think those guys are awesome. If they fucked around and like dangled along fucking CIA agents, made them buy them champagne and shit, and they didn't actually have any info, those guys are dope.
Their fucking village and their family.
We'll bomb you.
You're gonna be like, yeah, I'm actually important, please.
Yeah. If you kill me, if you kill this random farmer, you're gonna lose a lot of information. Like, of course.
Before I joined the CIA, I worked as a technologist for over 30 years in the private and public sectors, including for AOL and NASA.
AOL?
But there were times when I thought, this is not for me, because it was tough sometimes to be the only woman in the room. I wore baggy suits and I put my hair in a bun and I wore glasses because the fact that I was a young woman technologist was unusual. One of my deputies used to say we did everything from makeup to spacecraft and everything in between.
You're Q.
You're Q. That's right.
You're Q?
You were Q.
Oh. I thought she's going through this like big thing, like it was so hard to like break out of the shackles of being just seen just as like a bimbo in this like male-dominated field, and they were like, yeah, you're pretty hot. You know what? Wood. You're cute. Yeah, you are cute.
Oh, you know they said cute.
Yeah, that's what I thought they were saying.
The part of Q that most people associate are the communications devices, you know, the talking in your sleeve, you know, to be flip, Maxwell Smart talking into his shoe.
But surely this is like the cancer ray gun or something. Like,
yeah,
this isn't just communications stuff. It's all the freaky shit they like. You know, they put like the poison powder in Castro's swimsuit and like we should be doing the crazy stuff.
Well, they are. They're not allowed to talk about that. That's why they're like, oh, the thing they know me for is the telephone, not pager bombs.
Yeah,
nothing like that.
Forget about that. It's the shoe telephone.
The team from the Director of Science and Technology who do disguises are miracle workers. They decided to sort of use round glasses on my face, right? Because you want to break up the contours of your face. You want to try to change, if not the color, then the shape or style of
the color. They're going to send him in blackface?
Your hair. The necessity of really preparing a thorough alias background, understanding your alias address, your entire persona.
How is this relevant to a business owner? They don't need to know, like, oh yes, my fake alias that I created this business. If you're making shell companies and smuggling money.
Yeah, the random guy running an auto parts shop or like any kind of small businessman is just like, hey, round glasses to make a disguise.
Remember my address.
Considering that I was an actual imposter when I was undercover, it's kind of funny that I've struggled with imposter syndrome in my life.
That's the segue? How to handle imposter syndrome as the man who wears disguises? This is so strange.
Sometimes feel like I'm an imposter.
That's incredible.
I feel like I'm not really an Arab.
It's really.
This is how I deal with that. It's just like, this is such a long straw. This makes no sense.
But to be fair to him, that's the real form of imposter syndrome. Like all these
being paid to be an imposter.
Yeah.
If he actually gets over the imposter syndrome, he's completely useless to the CIA because now he's suddenly a businessman in the Middle East. Like, you don't want to get over that.
They'll be like, tell us, and they'll be like, what?
I don't know the CIA. I'm a businessman. I'm not an imposter. Excuse me, I have very important work to do. Exporting.
Need to go back to my job.
What I learned is the importance of owning it. Like, be confident, believe in yourself, have that positive self-talk where you're reassuring yourself all along that this is working,
You are an
This guy reminds me of Will Neff.
imposter. You can't use those strategies because coming from a man who is an imposter.
No, but he's talking about double imposter syndrome. He's talking about he's an imposter, so he's like looking at the other imposters and he's like, oh, am I a good imposter? Like,
we've used that word so much.
I'm like, he's got imposter syndrome for being an imposter. So he's like, oh, am I a good imposter? Look, I see the other imposters.
Stop saying that. I don't know what that means.
And the other imposters are so good at being imposters.
And a disguise doesn't have to be a physical one.
Right.
It can also be psychological. Picture yourself the way you want to be seen.
I'm an Arab man. I'm an Arab man.
When I was acting director, I had to look Obama in the eye and tell him that we were losing in Afghanistan.
Yeah.
We were having a series of meetings with the president and his senior advisors so that he could make a decision on what the U.S. troop level should be in Afghanistan. Obviously, incredibly important issue.
Yeah, and then he decided they need more. I love that. All this big room of experts, and this guy be like, I had to tell him the best thing to do was stay in there for another 20 years.
That's why they give me the puzzles to solve.
We seem to be losing Afghanistan. Bring in the quizmaster.
One view was that we were losing. That since the Taliban reemerged in 2005, 2006, that we had steadily lost ground to them. And the second point was that if we had no U.S. troops in Afghanistan, and we were in this room having a conversation about the national security issues related to Afghanistan, would we decide to send troops now?
Do we just let the country go and then not have a problem? Or do we just make more of a problem?
But it's also just like, you'd be thinking about it as much as you're thinking about the security situation of Burundi. You know, like it's just not a thing because you haven't invaded this random country.
But also what makes it a thing is the fact that you keep invading it and you keep troops there is the only reason why you're now a target for extremists in Afghanistan. So the best thing to do is pull out, maybe even just apologize and give everyone a lot of money and be like, please, we are sorry.
Yeah. If the president is this man that he's explaining, this man who just like wants information on how to make the best decisions. The CIA funded these guys.
Yeah.
You got the CIA guy being in there being like, yeah, you got to put more troops in.
Yeah.
Surely you'd stop listening to them at some point.
After 12 years of war and so many lives lost, I knew there might be some strong reactions to our analysis. It takes courage not to be swayed by the president.
All right, I'm logging out. I'm going to come back later. I want to see if TikTok will let me go live.